Hey everyone, this is Andrew Osta. I'm a painter and I'm an author of several books, mostly autobiographical stuff. I've decided I should do a video. I decided to do a video for you guys because it's been a long time since I've made any videos, and it's just that I don't have time to do it. I don't have time to sit in front of my cell phone or my computer and talk into the screen, because I don't know who's gonna watch it and I don't know what to say really. So I decided I'm gonna do a video while I paint. I'm gonna be working on this painting, and at the same time I'll be recording a video. So what I wanted to do is just share with you guys, like, I don't know if you read my books. You might have read my books about shamans and healers. The first one when I went to Peru and and studied ayahuasca shamanism. And then the second one when I went to Texas and sort of got into this evangelical Christian movement and the Messianic Christian movement. And the third one is just a collection of stories, like with a spiritual undercurrent. So I don't know if you guys have read the books, but there might be some updating necessary, because I feel like I documented everything accurately. Like, I just documented what happened. I didn't really make any conclusions about what happened. So there could be some misunderstanding, or maybe some people are just wondering, like, what is my stance on certain issues, or what do I take away from the whole experience. So in short, I guess I'll talk in short. So in short, my experience in Peru was that a lot of those shamans, a lot of the people that I studied with, a lot of the shamans that I met, who were respectable, and they weren't like self-proclaimed teachers who yesterday were doing one thing and then today they're shamans. No, they were like real serious shamans and people deeply involved in shamanism. And I found them to be, for the most part, completely unreliable, completely morally deficient, completely untrustworthy. Let's just say that. So if you take away anything from this video, like, if you're gonna go to Peru to look for a shaman, to do psychedelic therapy, or to try to basically learn from ayahuasca and from these people, like, you will be for sure you will be lied to, and you will be cheated, and you will be taken advantage of. Like, that's pretty much, I can pretty much guarantee that. There's like one person that I can think of in the entire Iquitos who, in my experience, was not interested in money, and did not just do it for the money, and that's Ron Wheelock. Ron Wheelock, he's a gringo, a expat shaman who lives in Iquitos, Peru. So Ron, I would be doing him an injustice if I didn't mention that that my experience with him is that he was genuine, but everybody else was basically trying to take advantage of me, and not just me, but other people also. So that kind of opens up a question, and the question is that if you're in Peru and or whatever, you're drinking ayahuasca, and you're getting all these visions, and you're spiritually sort of awakening and all these things are happening, then how is it possible that your morals are non-existent? Like, how is it possible that you will like seduce any woman and you will steal from any man, you will, you know, cheat the people who come to you, ask them, borrow money from them and don't give it back, ask for money for things that, you know, that it's not, like just lie, cheat, steal, have sexual affairs with, and just all of that. So the natural question is like, how is it possible that people who have spiritual experiences and see, you know, other realities and see, you know, communicate with spirits and awaken to so many things, how is it possible that those people have no morals and that they're willing and ready and eager to do all kinds of shameful and destructive things? And I think the answer to that is that, you know, that power and experiences do not in themselves make you a better person, make you enlightened, make you happy, or bring blessings to your family or anything like that. Like, it's not gonna solve all your problems. I mean, it seems like it's gonna solve all your problems. That's what it seems like, but it doesn't. I mean, ayahuasca and all those things, they don't solve all your problems. It only appears like they do, but in reality, it takes more than that. So I was saying, I did not find moral integrity in Peru, and when I came out of Peru, like when I got back to my life in Canada, I was a mess. Like, I was like really, really worse off than before I left. Because before I left, I was like full of confidence, and I was like, I might have had some problems, but I was very optimistic. Like, I had my issues, I had my problems, but I was like optimistic. I was like, yeah, you know, like I got these problems, but I'm getting better, and there are solutions, you know, with this Peru thing, with the gurus, with the plants, with whatever, with meditations. Like, I'm gonna overcome all my problems. It's gonna be all right. Like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be, you know, I'll be fine. I'll be good. Like, everything's gonna get better. And even though I had my, you know, my moments of difficulties and emotional crises and breakdowns and, you know, anxieties and depressions and all that, like, but I wasn't like, it didn't last long. Like, it's like I could be depressed, and then I could get out of it and be optimistic and laugh with my friends, and, you know, and forget that you know, that how I was feeling, and through the use of some substance or some meditation or whatever, like, try to overcome those states. But once I came back from Peru, like, my confidence just vanished because of all the experiences that I had. I realized that they did not help me in the slightest. Like, I didn't become a better person. I didn't become healthier in any way. I didn't become happier. Like, quite the contrary. Like, I was a complete mess. And looking over my diaries from that time, they were, I mean, I was writing the kind of stuff like, I was writing the kind of stuff like, I'm ready to be done with this, like with this life. Like I'm done. Like I don't want nothing from this life anymore. Like if it wasn't for my family, I would just like end it all. That's I had those kind of diary entries towards the end. Towards the end of my Peru experience. I had all kinds of health problems. I had, depression and anxiety and whatever. I couldn't be with people. I was like self-destructive. I spent all my money. I mean, I couldn't paint. I don't know what else to say to you guys. Like, it was bad. Like, it was really bad. So I continued looking for the answers through psychedelics, and I ended up with some grandmothers in Oaxaca, and did some salvia and some mushrooms, and it sort of started bringing me back into myself. Like I was able to begin painting again. I was making some music and things like that. But overall, I think I might have said this before, but in one of those mushroom ceremonies in Oaxaca, in Huautla de Jimenez, I had a mushroom ceremony, and the lady, the grandmother who was guiding us through the ceremony, she asked me, like, she's like, well, what do you want to get from this? Like, what is your objective? What is your intention? And I realized that I don't want anything. I was like, I don't want anything, man. I don't want, like, no experiences. I don't want any visions. Like, I'm tired of all that. I don't want any of it. It just, I don't know what I told her. Like, I might have said, like, I don't know what I want, but in my mind, the only thing I wanted was another, like, a fresh start, basically. I just wanted to start again, start over, basically. Start over with all this, like, without all of these, like, special powers, and without knowing things, and without demonic presences in my life. Because after Peru, like, demons were just manifesting pretty vividly in my life. Like, again, I run the risk of, like, repeating stuff that I've said before, but it was kind of stuff like the kind of stuff when devices like TVs and stereos would go on and off by themselves, which is, I mean, it's not that scary, but it was strange. And then things like I would call somebody and I would hear demonic voices. I would hear demons on the phone, like seriously, like demonic voices on the phone. I would be driving down the highway or something, and I would get a thought like, why don't you just verve off the highway? Why don't you just, like, take a turn and just, like, crash, because what's the point anyway? Like, it's just like those kind of thoughts would just come to me, and then and I would consider it, and it's not that I was, like, super depressed or something. It's just that these kind of thoughts were entering my head, and because I was, like, I've always been sort of into spiritual practice, so, like, watching my thoughts and doing mantras and repeating prayers and things like that. So when stuff like that happened, I was aware of it. It wasn't just like, why don't you, like, crash into that tree, and I would just be like, okay, I'm not that kind of a person. Like, I'm aware of the thought, and I sort of look at it and I consider it, and I'm like, I wonder why I have that thought. Like, I wonder, what would happen if I did that. And ultimately, I always decided, like, I'm not gonna ever do that, because it would be painful for my family. Like I don't want my family to suffer, basically, that I crashed into some tree or something. So that was the main reason why I didn't follow through with those things. But I would have those kind of thoughts, and then I would also have like lots of dreams and nightmares and anxieties at night and all that. So I mean, it was unpleasant, uncomfortable, and I felt like I was open to demonic entities who were basically messing around with me and abusing me, awake and asleep. So I wanted a break. I wanted to start over from all that, and I ended up, as probably some of you know, in the mountains of Oaxaca, San Jose del Pacifico. I was blessed to find these people, Jose and Ella, who had a pretty similar background to my own. They were into meditation, into different kinds of gurus and practices, and came out of there and became Christians. And they're the ones who, with God's help, got me out of that state that I was in, and out of a state of being cursed. I'm saying this, being cursed, I'm saying in the sense that, it's like I never had money, I never had like peace of mind, my relationships weren't working. It was like, after Peru, like, even though I was sometimes I could be very optimistic because I had these kind of amazing and remarkable experiences, they would make me optimistic, but that was always temporary. And coming back to reality, like my reality was not really going anywhere. Like I had no success with my artwork. I was like still shy and still like self-destructive, and I just like couldn't I don't know how to say it. Like I couldn't make any leeway. I couldn't get anywhere in life. Couldn't get anywhere in life. That's pretty much my state before this liberation or prayer sessions with Jose and Ella. My relationships were crap, like not healthy, and falling apart, and lots of arguing, and just like nothing was really good, before I went through with the prayers and made my effort to follow the way of Christ, the way of Jose and Ella, and of my ancestors, really, because my ancestors were Christian. So until I made that effort, like I was experiencing what it's like to live a life of being cursed, like where you try and you try and you try and you can't succeed. And that's what I call being under a curse, and your relationships, your finances, like your family, like everything is just sort of not the way that it should be. And then there was a turning point, and then after this experience in Refugio, I experienced like what it's like to have a blessed life, and to have blessings from above, to have blessings from God that like just help you in your life and just like guide you, and people come in and at just the right moment come into your life. Like there's provision. That's what my third book is about, I think more than the second book, the third book is about those kind of instances, like where God basically through miraculous intercession like saves me and blesses me in so many ways, like in so many different situations. There are just so many stories, like finding my house, this house that I'm in, like, you know, being able to purchase this house. Like I was short like a very significant amount of money, you know. I was short like $70,000 or something, and that money just came like rapidly. In a matter of a couple of months, was able to make the money and buy the house. And it's just one story. I mean, these things are in the third book, which is called God with Us, and those are all stories about the amazing things that God continues to do, basically. But, I mean, having said all this, when I converted, when I became a Christian, like Jose and Ella told me, even though they're not very negative on psychedelics and on plants and on mushrooms and marijuana, all that stuff, they're not like, they don't demonize that. They don't demonize those substances. They were big users of psychoactive substances before, but as like somebody who's just entering into the path, like into the Christian path, like it's not a probably not a good idea to mix that with substance use. Why? Because you're not gonna know like what's coming from God and what's coming from the substances. Like if you continue to use, say, mushrooms or whatever it is, and you have experiences, then you never actually like experience what it's like to not to have a religious experience or a spiritual experience without a substance, just with you and the Holy Spirit, or with you and Jesus, or you and God. And it's a different sort of experience. And once you have those kind of experiences, then you're not, then you don't have doubts about, is this the true path, or is this like, do I really believe what I'm trying to believe? Like, is this real? And all that, like that, those kind of questions go away because you have so many experiences that confirm your path, that basically the doubts go away. And I think that if you continue to rely on old methods, whether it's like psychedelics or some kind of meditations or whatever it is that you have been doing to make yourself feel better, if you continue to rely on those old things while you're also seeking God and a relationship with God and like some kind of an answer from God, then you're gonna be confused, because you're not gonna know where the answer is coming from. You're not gonna know where's this blessing coming from, where is this I think you understand. So that's why we don't mix substances and Christian spiritual practice, because of that, especially in the beginning. But then later on, I was asked, so I quit using all substances, basically, like tobacco, marijuana, mushrooms, like everything. I quit it completely for over 10 years. I don't know how many years. 10, 12 years I didn't do any psychedelic, like any substance. I just distanced myself from that, and I had a life of complete surrender to, I don't know if it's complete surrender to God, but it was basically trying to establish that relationship with God without substances in the way. and then questions arose, like both from me and from other people, because they're saying, like, people were saying, well, you had all this experience with substances, like with ayahuasca, with mushrooms, with whatever, and do you feel that you didn't benefit from them at all, or what? Like, do you feel that those substances are demonic, that they're evil? Like, what is your stance on all this? And that's a question that I struggled with myself for a long time, because especially once I stopped using substances, like, my memory is not, it's not super clear, and it was difficult to analyze and go back and analyze my life and to say with any kind of certainty, like, what impact substances had on me. But I think it's pretty safe to say that there was a positive impact in my life from the use of various substances, in particular mushrooms. It would be kind of, I can't deny mushrooms and salvia and some other things. I can't deny that they had a positive impact on me. So for a long time, I was contemplating, like, what is this? What are these substances, and how do they relate to my new identity as a Christian? And really, biblically, like in the Bible, there's not really a prohibition on psychedelics that I'm aware of. These things are just not mentioned. They're not mentioned. The wine is not prohibited. Like, people are allowed to drink wine. Some people don't drink wine because of spiritual reasons or whatever, because they're priests, or they have a special sort of ministry, a special thing that they have to do. But I think the overall biblical standpoint on wine is that it's good in moderation, and psychedelics are not mentioned. I understand, like, most people probably hold a negative view of all psychoactive substances, because they are, because that's the societal norm. But there's no biblical prohibition on using psychedelics. So I can't, like, biblically, I don't think I can say that psychedelics are completely wrong, or something, that they're not of God. Like, actually, the Bible says that God created all the plants. So if it's a plant substance, which is what also what Tio Jose told me from Refugio, he said, like, if it's a plant substance, like, it's made by God, like, so it has its purpose. Like, stuff that's been adulterated by man, that's a different story. So that includes, like, different strains of marijuana, whatever, because marijuana has been, like, if it's been genetically modified, or it's been, like, I don't know, like, developed somehow by man, and it's not in the form that in its natural God-made form, then I think it's not safe. I think it's not safe. And I think the same thing goes for all of the chemical substances. Whatever is chemical, man-made, there might be an application for it and a use, but I have not personally dabbled much in that, and I don't have much to say about it, but I think it's more dangerous because it's man-made. Because humans don't have the wisdom of God, basically. It's not, we don't have that same wisdom. Like, God made everything perfect. So that's my sort of short view on psychedelics. So I don't think that they're completely demonic. I don't think that they're evil. I just I just know that they're not of the same. It's just not the same energy. It's a created energy. It's not like the biggest danger, I think, with the psychedelics, the natural psychedelics, is that you will remain on that level, like tied to the plant. Like you're gonna need to use the plant in order to reach some kind of a higher state of consciousness, and you don't want to be dependent on that plant. And the thing is that the plants in themselves, like they're material creation, and they don't give you spiritual experiences. Like a material thing does not give a spiritual experience, but it does, like it can open you up to a spiritual experience. So it can make you more susceptible to receiving a spiritual experience, but it doesn't give you a spiritual experience in and of itself. So that's my quick take on it. Again, like I'm willing to enter into discussions with people who who have questions, or who want to talk about, if you want to talk about your experience, or you have a question, or you want to get some sort of advice from me. Like, I'm very happy to talk about these things, and I don't take money from you guys. Like, I'm not gonna ask for donations to talk about this stuff. This is not my job. It's something that I've always been passionate about, and I love talking about these things, and if I can help anybody, I'm happy to. So if you have any sort of questions, comments, I'd be happy to discuss those things with you. Yeah, so I mean, this is my, I don't know if I said anything of interest or not. I would like to probably do another video, like a separate one, or maybe just keep going, man. I don't know who watches these. I don't know if you're gonna watch this, if anybody's gonna watch this, if it's too long. I think I'm gonna do another separate video, and if you have any questions, like, feel free to email me, or like, I don't know, get in touch with me somehow. I think my information is available online. Just go to my site, my website, and like send me an email, or leave a comment. Like, if there's any comment, I would like to see it, and maybe that will give me sort of incentive to speak more. All right, bless you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.